Let's start on the rollout of the vaccine. Has that been harder or simpler than you imagined?
I'd say about as expected. We knew there were a lot of logistical work that went into it. We incorporated our Colorado National Guard commander and many others in the process. There's been a little bit of lack of surety about what we're getting each week and each day from the federal government. That's made it a little bit more difficult. Some supplies running about a week behind, some a few days behind. But otherwise, implementing our logistical plan has been a priority to get it to our frontline workers and most vulnerable populations in nursing homes and those who are at greater risk.
What is your wish on the stimulus that's being discussed at the moment? Should the direct checks be increased from $600 to $2,000? And if it was, or even if it's not, where would you stand on your $375?
Well, it's easy to sit here at the state level and say, of course, they should send it out. Obviously, and I used to be a congressman for 10 years, and I had to weigh the federal fiscal situation in that, and you know whether and how you pay for the $400 to $500 billion is certainly a real issue. Maybe they can compromise. Let me tell you what we did with our $375 in Colorado. We couldn't send it to everybody. We sent it to everybody who experienced any unemployment. So if they file for unemployment anytime between March and October, even if it was for 1 week, they got it. Some reduced income because of the crisis, many of them back at work. It's a back to work reward for being back to work. If they were still unemployed, they got it. So, maybe there's a way they can get that price tag down by focusing a little bit more. But the general concept, get some money out, help people who need it. We need a stimulus right now. And I think they can do more than they did with the initial stimulus act.
Well, Governor, would that money be better off used to allocate towards state and local funding, which was left out of this bill, but some federal lawmakers were pushing for as much as $500 billion for states that need it to keep firefighters and police on the payroll?
Yeah, I think that support through the states, letting us locally administer some piece of it makes sense. Frankly, if we got some, we would probably use some as a direct payment anyway, but we might tailor it a little bit differently. We might cut taxes. We might find other things that we can do. We did defer taxes in all of our restaurants. They get to keep the sales tax they collect and not remit it to the state for the next 4 months. So some tax relief. So, yeah, I think the more that they can let us at the state level really tailor that to our needs, the better. So I am very supportive of a state and local piece, but direct payments are certainly part of what we would do anyway. And I think it's fine if they do that at the federal level, and it would help.
How concerned are you about a short-term sort of second spike this winter time in cases following the Christmas and New Year break?
Well, I'm really worried because here we are. We see the light at the end of the tunnel. Vaccine is going in people's arms, but we have a few more months until it's reached enough people where it makes a difference from an epidemiological perspective. So in the meantime, we just have to keep it up for these next few months. It's not time for a victory dance yet, but it is so exciting every time we see it. I was at our veterans long-term living home facility, and to see it go into the arms of some of our brave folks who fought in Korea, who fought in Vietnam was really wonderful.
Where do you stand on stay-at-home orders at this point, and whether we need them? I know you've implemented such things. There's one in California, and yet that state is leading the nation now per capita in COVID cases and hospitalizations. Do they work?
Yeah, we've largely stayed away from those. We were one of the first states to end ours last April or May, and I think that the psychological, social, economic toll is greater than the benefit. Obviously, there's a caveat. If your hospitals are literally overflowing, people are dying who could be saved, I think states and within states, cities might need to look at more extreme measures. But we're open for ski season. People are coming, in more areas of our state. Even all the stores are open. Restaurants are opening increasingly in many areas. So I think there's a balance. Nobody's really figured out how you can have, nightlife and nightclubs and bars and that sort of thing in the middle of a pandemic. But other than that, I think trying to strike that balance is really the important work that's being done at the state and local level.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.